Hi guys, welcome back. So in today's video we're going to be talking about a murder mystery. Now this murder mystery happened back in 1931. Murder was a lady called Julia Wallace and her husband William Wallace was the accused murderer. Now we'll get into the story and we'll see what you guys think, whether you think he did it or not. But just to start off the story, we'll do a bit of background about William and then we'll get into the murder. So William Herbert Wallace was born on the 29th of August 1878 and he was born in Milam in Cumbria. On leaving school at 14 years old, he began training as a draper's assistant in Cumbria. On finishing his apprenticeship, he obtained a position in Manchester to the British Armed Forces. Now, William did 5 years service in the armed forces, and in 1903, after finishing 5 years of service, he obtained a transfer, so then he got transferred to the company's branch in Calcutta, India, and he remained there for about 2 years. On the suggestion of his brother, who lived in Shanghai at the time, in 1905, William then transferred again to White Wade Laidlaw's branch, which was in the city his brother was in. Unfortunately, though, for William, a reoccurring kidney problem, William Wallace then had to resign from his position and then he returned back home. He returned back home in 1907 and that's where they had to remove his left kidney. Now, through the help of his father, William managed to find another job back at home in England as a collections agent with an insurance company in Liverpool. Now, Wallace attended chess meetings at the chess club in Liverpool. On the evening of Monday the 19th of January 1931, he was scheduled to play a chess game. While William was there, he got handed a message, so a phone call came through for William, which was a bit odd, like he wasn't expecting a phone call. This came through 20 minutes before he arrived, so just keep that in mind because that might come in later when you determine whether you think he's guilty or not. So the phone call came through 20 minutes before William arrived. Sketchy, I know. The call requested that he call at an address. Now the address was 25 Menlove Gardens, Liverpool, and at 7:30 p.m. the following evening. It was said that he was to go there at 7 p.m. the following evening to discuss insurance with the man who had given his name as I'm going to butcher this now, Qualtrough? We'll go with it. Next night, William then travelled to this place, which was south of the city that he was already in, only to discover when he got there the Menlove Gardens north, south and west, but there was no east. East didn't exist. William then made inquiries of people passing by, asking for directions. He went into a local newsagent and asked, am I near? Am I far? Can you give me some directions to East Menlove Gardens? He also spoken to a policeman on his way as well, but nobody he asked was able to help him in the search of this mysterious place that came through on the phone call. He called at the same address but west rather than east, just to see if there was miscommunication, as the message was passed from one person to another, then to William, so it wasn't directly to William. He asked several passers-by around the west area of Menlove Gardens to see if anybody else could help him, but nobody could help him because this place didn't exist, so he says. After searching the district for about 45 minutes, William returned home. His neighbours, John and Florence Johnston, love it. Anyway, his neighbours were heading out that evening and they spotted William in the alley. William was complaining that he couldn't actually get into his house. Now, for people who don't know what an alley is, it's like an English word for... So it's a narrow passage, basically. Alleys seem to have a bad name in the UK. Like, dodgy stuff goes on in alleys, okay? While the neighbours watched William, he couldn't gain entrance from the front or the back of his home. So William tried the back door again and with some luck he managed to open it, only to find his wife Julia dead on the floor. She had been brutally beaten to death. So this is looking pretty bad on William. I mean, there was a phone call made 25 minutes before he arrived to his chess game. They found out that the phone call was made from a payphone. The telephone box, the payphone, was only 400 yards from his house, which is just odd. And it was made before he got there, so he could have easily have made that phone call. But the person in the cafe where he was having his game that took the call said it didn't sound anything like William, and he was adamant that it was not William who phoned and left that message for himself. But police did start to question William because things just weren't adding up. They were questioning whether he actually spoke to people around that area. They looked into whether he had time to go to the area, come back, kill his wife, and then go back out and pretend like he couldn't get in, like covering his steps basically. They were very, very suspicious of William because it just didn't make sense any other way. Like, if the phone call came in while William was there, it would make more sense, but it didn't. The police then conducted the tests to see if it was possible for him to arrive at the tram that he took to get to the destination that he was supposed to go to from the phone call and have time to go back and kill his wife. And they came to the conclusion that that was possible. Although they said it was possible with somebody younger and fitter, and then came to the conclusion that William was 52 years old and it probably wasn't possible for somebody his age. After the forensics team investigated the crime scene, the wounds that poor Julia had were very harsh wounds. And they also came to the conclusion that the person who did this to her would probably have a lot of blood on them. They did test the suit that William was wearing that day, but couldn't find any traces of blood on there. The police then believed that the raincoat that was found underneath Julia was used in the crime scene as well. They believe that William was naked when he did this and used the raincoat to shield himself of the blood. The blood went on the raincoat, which he then placed underneath Julia. And I think at that time as well, like, you couldn't really do, well, I don't even think you could do DNA testing. So I think if this happened nowadays, you could determine who it is probably fairly easily. But this was back in 1931. So the police sort of just had to piece together what they could see. They couldn't actually test anything because it wasn't that advanced then. They did examine the drains in the baths and the sinks of the home, but determined that they were not used to clean up any blood or anything like that, apart from a single tiny clot in the toilet pan. But the origin of it couldn't be established. So they didn't know if it was blood, if it was Julia's blood. Again, the forensics back then, it just wasn't advanced enough to test things like that to determine whether it was or not. William did get arrested, but he did appeal. William did get charged with murder for his wife. He denied it every single day. He said, "It's not me, I've had nothing to do with it, it wasn't me." They did a mock trial and William was found not guilty. A witness then came forward, which was the milkman, who said he saw and spoke to Julia pretty much minutes after William would have left. And they said that all of the evidence was circumstantial, it wasn't actually solid evidence. But when they took it to a real trial, he did actually get convicted of his wife's murder. William was then sentenced to death for the murder of his wife, Julia Wallace. But then, plot twist, William appealed and said that there wasn't solid evidence, then won his appeal and he got set free, to which he then returned back to his insurance job. Unfortunately, William, he did get hateful threats, and these were from his previous customers. This was hate mail and physical threat. Wallace decided to just move away and moved into a bungalow, and on the 26th of February 1933, just 2 years after his wife was murdered, William Wallace died himself, and a condition that I cannot pronounce, but I'll insert it here. It's inflammation of the kidneys, which he did have problems with previously, earlier on in his life. So there you have it. What do you guys think? Do you think it was William, or do you think somebody else killed his wife Julia? After reading all the evidence, I think it was William. I think the phone call and everything was just a backup story for him so he didn't get caught. I just can't think of anybody else who would want to murder his wife. It doesn't mention any signs of forced entry into his home, and I believe that he was pretending he couldn't open the door to make it look like the door of the locks were broken or something. I don't know, the pieces just don't add up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you do like these sort of stories, then please subscribe. If there's any stories you guys want me to cover, then leave them below. I will check them out and hopefully make a video on them. And for that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!